Your Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces of the Republic of Kenya, the Cabinet Secretary for Labor, Honorable Simon Chelugui, Honorable Ministers present, Principal Secretaries present, led by our Principal Secretary Engineer Peter Toom, my brother Dr. Francis Atwoli, the COTU Secretary General, members of the Management Board of the Federation of Kenya Employers, led by our National President, fellow employers and workers, senior government officials, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Federation of Kenya Employers, I bring you greetings, a message of goodwill, and congratulate all of us for reaching this day. I think, Your Excellency, it is a good thing that we're able to meet physically after 2 years of not being able to do so. Employers recognize that we are meeting here to celebrate Labor Day only a day after we said goodbye to our third president, His Excellency Mwai Kibaki, where Your Excellency led the nation to give him a well-deserved hero's send-off. We salute President Kibaki for all he did for Kenya, and we will never forget his work. Your Excellency, today gives us an opportunity to assess the performance of the labor sector over the last 1 year. And there are several indicators of the performance which I will not go into because I've been asked to be brief, and I want to honor that request. The Federation of Kenya Employers acknowledges that the labor sector has made great progress in the advancement of fair labor practices in our nation, and that the labor sector leaders actually showed great leadership when COVID-19 started and entered into a memorandum of understanding that allowed us to maintain peace and treat our workers in a humane way and keep employment as many people in employment and for as long a duration as possible. However, the state of the labor market remains fragile. Enterprises continue to struggle. Some remain closed and others are struggling to get back into full operations and are unable to pay the full pre-COVID wages. Businesses are struggling with the supply chain disruptions and changing workplace dynamics. So employers have had to make heavy investments in technology to support business operations and enhance access to markets. But these have been useful investments to allow us to return people into employment. Your Excellency, the elephant in the room or in the open air is the issue of wages. I am aware that workers have asked for an increase in the current statutory minimum wages. Unfortunately, we were unable to reach agreement during the tripartite meetings of the wages councils due to the extreme challenges facing the labor market. Wages are undoubtedly among the most important conditions of work and employment at the enterprise level, and employers understand the hardships that workers are facing. The primary goal of workers is to get paid for their work, and it is the employer's duty to give them that pay for work done. However, employers seek a wage structure, Your Excellency, that not only protects the lowest paid workers and support fairness, but also helps increase productivity and economic growth and is economically sustainable. It is therefore important to analyze the key fundamentals in the labor market and in the economy before wages and other parameters are reviewed or set. These include economic growth, the state of enterprises, the state of labor, and employment trends, among others. Your Excellency, we take note of the high cost of living that is making life difficult for all of us, but certainly for those at the bottom of the scale. So we do humbly request the government to focus on addressing the push factors behind the high cost of living. These push factors are issues like the high cost of fuel, the disruptions in supply chains of essential commodities, the low food production, and the unfavorable tax regime that need to be reviewed. As an immediate measure, Your Excellency, we kindly request the government to consider revising the income tax bracket and the tax relief to support the lower income earners who are hard hit by the high cost of living. This can be done by raising the lower tax bracket to, say, Kenya shillings 35,000, or done progressively over the years, and the tax reliefs raised to about 3,500 Kenya shillings per month. We believe this approach is more efficient and effective in helping the lower income earners in an economy with very high informality like we have. Your Excellency, I would We will not go into the details of the changes in the regulatory environment that we have seen since COVID started. There have been very many proposals for amendments of core labor laws in our nation. There are very many policies that are being passed for good reason, and we understand the rationale, but at the end of the day, they all increase the cost of doing business. My second last point is to throw us back to the year 2015, Your Excellency, when you asked us social partners and other stakeholders in the labor sector to ensure that the wage adjustments are not only based on cost of living, but are also on the productivity levels, the need to reward performance, and to support the general development of the economy. The Federation of Kenya Employers strongly supports this wise position, Your Excellency, and calls upon all of us to actualize it. Kenya's productivity is not just low, it is falling. Kenya operates in a global market environment and competes with many countries. So we need a lot of investments to ensure that productivity, issues of skills development, adoption of technology are looked into. And we do know that you are aware than all of us really about our unemployment situation, the high levels of informality, the 2 million Kenyans who lost their jobs during COVID and who are not able to go back to work as yet. So we do plead with the government that enterprises be given an opportunity to recover, to bring the workers who lost jobs back into employment, and for businesses which are still closed to reopen. Your Excellency, my final point is looking at where we are going in terms of the elections. We've prayed about that this morning. Employers want to add their voice to the call for peace. It is important for us that politics be played in a way that does not divide the country. So we do appreciate the work that you've done, Your Excellency, in enhancing tolerance, dialogue, and consultations. And we call upon all political players to embrace social dialogue and tolerance to ensure, as we head to elections, that we do so in a peaceful manner. It is true as a country that our youth need role models, and we do need them, even at the highest level of politics. As a federation, we remain apolitical. We do not take sides, but we follow keenly and with interest the developments in the political arena. We have developed an employers' agenda, a business agenda, a manifesto, which we'll be engaging your government on to help us determine the quality of issues and the priorities for the next government. This would include addressing the high household poverty levels, strengthening and seizing the opportunities in regional integration and continental integration, and thirdly, accelerating the post-COVID socio-economic recovery to enhance stability and predictability in the labor market. Finally, Your Excellency, I want to conclude by thanking your government under your leadership most sincerely for the continued support that you gave employers, even when we had different opinions and had to take positions which were not perhaps in support of some of the proposals and policy decisions. You were tolerant and you understood where employers were coming from. So we appreciate the work that you've done, and we pledge that we'll continue working with you even as you seek to see a smooth transition, and we wish you Godspeed. I want to say as I conclude, Your Excellency, that a noble leader answers not to the trumpet calls of self-promotion, but to the hushed whispers of necessity. You have shown us as a leader that you're willing to listen, and you're willing to do what is necessary to bring peace to our nation. So we want to thank you very much, and God bless Kenya.